Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Thursday, May 29th, 2025. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. This podcast covers the national champions. I did not have to chase down Brad here, Mr. Willstar. Just getting everything lined up for you guys to have a tremendous show today, but not a bad call on your part. We do have a tremendous show lined up for you. Lots going on. Lots of visits scheduled by guys who are very good at football and could be playing football at Ohio State. Some of the best players in the country. And Ohio State is in the mix for 6 or 7, depending how you look at it, 5-star prospects right now. And we're going to start off the show by letting the dean, Bill Kurelic, cook and let you know which ones you should get your hopes up for, or which ones maybe aren't as realistic, hence the name of the show, fantasies or reality. So we will get to that in just a sec. But first, I've got to tell you about a great product that's helping us with the show, and it is MitoPure from Timeline. This is a supplement that really helps cell regeneration. MitoPure is the only urolithin, and that was hard for me to say this early in the morning, a supplement on the market clinically proven to target the effects of age-related cellular decline, helps in your workouts, you recover more quickly, have more energy, you preserve your health, mobility, and strength as you get older, and you generally just support your cellular health. This is here to be the best and most energized, most revitalized you. And MitoPure's by Timeline. It helps you awaken the strength, power, and resilience already in you with the first, and like I said, only supplement clinically proven to rejuvenate health at the cellular level. Go to timeline.com. Those of you watching can see the banner. Go to timeline.com/Bucknuts. That's timeline.com/Bucknuts. Easy for me to say. Also, by the way, easy for me to bring on these two guys, the kings of the recruiting circuit, in my opinion at least, the dean, Bill Kurelic, the grand poobah, Mark Porter. And like I told you guys, we are going to today break down whether or not Ohio State really has a chance with the 7 or 6, depending how you look at it, Bill. 5 stars they are in the mix for. Now, 24/7 Sports, I'm looking down at my notes here because I want to get the order in the correct fashion. 24/7 Sports recently updated its rankings. So we're going to go through these, Bill, in ranking order. And then we're going to talk about another Glenville linebacker who set his commitment date, et cetera, et cetera. So as these guys come up, Bill, maybe you can just give a quick rundown of where we stand and whether people should have 5-star fantasies about these individuals. We will start with Mansfield, Texas, Lake Ridge High School, the highest rated player on Ohio State's board according to 24/7 right now, Felix Ojo.
Well, I don't think that too much has changed from what I've said before. I still think Texas is going to be hard to beat, but not necessarily impossible. And I think if anybody has a chance right now, it would be Ohio State. Oklahoma, I think peripherally, 2 perhaps, but I think it's Texas at the top, Ohio State next. And, as people like to say, and they like to put that gun to my head, if I had a gun to my head, I'd go with Texas. But Ohio State gets their shot this weekend, so we will see what happens. You know that Ohio State, they have the wherewithal to do it if they would choose to. But Texas certainly does too. So that's where I think that one stands right now. And his official visit is to Ohio State this weekend. Then he's got Michigan lined up after that, then Texas, then Oklahoma. So we'll see what happens. But the thing is, if Ohio State does do a tremendous job this weekend, and I think they will, it's still a long way and a lot of visits to go for him.
Now, Bill did not say this, but I'm going to translate that through my impression. Ohio State could have a great weekend, and Texas could just amp the offer. So I said that, not Bill. I think I'm right, but that's neither here nor there. Marcus, this is our look at Felix Ojo. Let's point him out and talk about him.
Yeah. The first thing that I noticed when I've watched him is he's like Velcro. He has a way of sticking to the defender. As they try to get away, it's like almost like they pull him onto him more because his feet are so good and he keeps them popping. But yeah, he does not disengage from these guys. And the high school kids on this film, he's obviously ragdolling them around because he's such a big, long defender. But I think this kid's raw. I mean, I think this is like a raw player that's going to get a lot better in college. You know, he's got that basketball, body, like we talk about with Sam Greer and Adam Guthrie, the guys in Ohio. But the athleticism here, just to stick with these guys, it'll sting if he goes to Texas, because this is another one of those Brandon Bakers and some of the guys we get excited about. Cantwell was one we got excited about. He's in that echelon. I agree with the national analyst on this one.
I know in basketball, wingspan has become like not cliche, but it's a big deal. When you look at those clips, boy, he's got those guys pretty far away from his body. That jumped out to me. I don't know if that's just – I'd have to watch it.
When I say Velcro, that long arm and the good feet, as guys disengage, your arms just go with them and your feet just go with you. And it's like people can't get away from that, extra reach and the extra good feet. That's why it's historically a great combo. And that's how you play this game, not disengaging very easily.
Bill, next up, Xavier Griffin from Gainesville, Georgia, full-fledged werewolf and one-time commitment to USC. And again, can we please go into Georgia and take away one of their best players, Bill?
Going to be tough. He is at Ohio State this weekend, will be at Ohio State this weekend. Interestingly, I think the school to beat at Alabama is his following visit. So he's got Alabama June 6th to 8th. Then he has Texas, and then he has Florida State. I think a lot will hinge on Ohio State improving their chances with how things go with his meetings with Matt Patricia and James Laurinaitis, in particular Matt Patricia, because he wants to see how he will fit in Ohio State's defense exactly. And I know he's so good he can fit in anywhere, but he wants to know that Ohio State's defense will really utilize his skills. He didn't feel that way about Jim Knowles' defense necessarily, and that's part of the reason Ohio State didn't get him the first time around when he committed to USC. He didn't feel like he necessarily fit or liked how he would fit, maybe would be a better way to put it, liked how he would fit in Jim Knowles' defense. So we'll see what Matt Patricia comes up with this weekend.
Xavier Griffin has announced his commitment date, has he not, Bill?
Yes, he has. I think that was earlier this week, if I am not mistaken, that he is going to announce, and I'd have to think for a second. I believe it's June. Golly, let me look that one up real quick.
Okay. While you look that up, we're going to take a look at some Xavier Griffin here.
This whole werewolf thing you've started, Dan. Every player is a werewolf or a
no. See, now, don't besmirch the title.
June 29th, by the way.
There's only a few.
At the echelon that we're recruiting, they almost all are kind of this type of player. Yeah,
they're at least werewolf. They're at least werewolf adjacent.
Yeah, we've got to fine tune some of these rankings, like werewolf, war daddy. Where does it all fit in the pecking order of within the upper echelon of 5 stars?
That sounds like you've got yourself an assignment for the summer, but go ahead.
Yeah, what a long body. I mean, athletic. I mean, geez, oh man, it looks like a track star coming out of his stance there as like a 6'4", 220-pound kid. This is the type of kid you build a defense around. This long range is just, it screams like SEC defensive lineman going in the first round from Georgia for 3 years from now. I mean, really, really good looking player here. I like that we're doing this top 7 of these really elite guys back to back, because that jumps off the screen.
Mark, where do you, if you notice that in the first like 8 or 9 plays, he's lined up
everywhere.
Hand in the dirt, standing up. It looks like they move him around a little bit. Thoughts on that versatility, or is that just
that's what you're buying? I mean, he probably grows into some type of edge player because of this get out of the gates track stance. He can blow by offensive tackles, and he's probably going to be able to do it at 240 or 250 pounds. I think he's listed at 212 right now, but he looks like he's a thin 212. This is the prototype pass rusher. And usually those guys, when they're in high school, you can stand them up and run them around, and he could probably drop in the coverage pretty easily in that backside end thing. I mean, this is an apex predator. Where do we put him in the werewolf Yeti discussion of rare things you don't see very often?
Bill, do you know what?
And Griffin, by the way, the announcements, I was going to say the end of June. It's June 29th to be exact.
We're on it.
Johnson from Glenville, Sincere Johnson, is June 19th, and Griffin is June 29th.
So that's a month from today. Bill, do you know, I don't think you may know this. Do you know what Ohio State sees for Griffin now that there's been all that talk of where he's going to play?
Well, he hasn't, that's what he wants to see. He wants to, talk to Matt Patricia in person and see exactly what they have in mind. I know at one point he told me that they were thinking middle linebacker, but again, he's not even 100% sure. That's a huge part of his visit this weekend. Details from Matt Patricia on exactly how he will be used.
This guy next
how he will fit in.
Right on. This guy next up is the cover guy. If you guys saw the graphic for today's show, he's got the ball in his hands, but he plays defense. Brillan Wulmack, Hartfield Academy in Flowood, Mississippi. Now, this is one, Bill, that there's been a lot of positive momentum about Brillan Wulmack. I know there's some other schools getting involved, but keep in mind they've already got a commitment from Blaine Bradford at safety. To get Brillan Wulmack and Blaine Bradford in the same class would be spectacular. Bill, the floor is yours.
Yeah, and I think, again, people like to put that gun to my head for some reason. If I had it to my head right now on him, I would go Ohio State on him. And I really like the fact that Ohio State has the last scheduled official visit, that being June 20th, 22nd weekend. He has Florida this weekend at Texas A&M, Auburn June 13th, and then Ohio State. Again, you always worry what Auburn may do as far as NIL and that type of thing. And they get the shot right before Ohio State. But I would be absolutely stunned, shocked if he did not take all four of those official visits before he makes his decision. And again, I like Ohio State there.
Mark, I'm bringing the tape up now, but pause it quickly. This is another guy we can thank tangentially, Nick Saban, because he's a huge Caleb Downs fan, but I digress. Go ahead.
You bring up Nick Saban. Can we talk some golf for a second?
Yeah.
Paired with Nick Saban at the Memorial down there. I'm seeing all the little TikTok interviews popping up, and Nick Saban was asked about Julian Sayin and gave a nice little thing. But where are all my golfers at? Like in the chat.
They're here, bud.
Yeah,
Trust
like where are they all at? Like, what are your handicaps? Okay, sorry for the digression. I popped in his all-purpose tape, and this is him running down the slot right here. You'll get an idea in about 3 or 4 plays of how special he is. Just basically offense. I don't know how long we're going to watch this, but at receiver, he's lights out. They can pretty much use this guy as a slot, a running back. You see him here in motion. This play, he's going to be 1 on 11. You're dead to rights in the backfield. And then it's like all 11 guys are after you, and nobody's blocking. And you see the speed there to turn the corner. So you're buying speed here. Obviously, a top prospect. I probably should have popped in his defensive highlights, but I was kind of interested, and you caught me watching the offensive highlights there.
Good stuff. No, we'll take it. All right, Bill.
Hey, wait. I have to tell a quick story. Mark, you brought it up.
Uh-oh.
The Memorial Tournament. Back when I was teaching, coaching at Dublin High School, now Dublin Kaufman, the Memorial Week was always a fun week to be the teacher. Not because you could go to the Memorial Tournament, although a lot of teachers did. Your Monday teaching class, relatively normal, maybe a student or two less. Tuesday, few less students, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday. By the end of the week, I'd walk into my classroom, hello, student, and I say, student. There was about one kid left in class by the Thursday, Friday of Memorial Week. They were all at the tournament. Easy last part of the week teaching. There wasn't anybody there to teach.
That's the NCAA tournament in a lot of schools. Everyone kind of gets the Thursday flu, but I love it, Bill. That's a great luxury to have in your town, a great golf event like that every year that you can plan on. Those are really a lot of fun. If you get a chance.
And also the best coaching job. I came my second year at Dublin, third year of teaching overall. I became the head basketball coach. The guy whose place I took, he was also the head golf coach. And he used to always say, and it's probably true, the best teaching job or the best coaching job to have in high school sports is the golf coach at Dublin. All you do is go watch them play because they all have their own private tutors and teachers, and you don't tell them anything. You just watch them play, and they do well.
It's story time on Thursday because I'm going to match that one with this. When you walk in the mean streets of Oakwood, where we live, when you walk into the gym, like every other or most other high schools, they have their banners, or some schools painted on the wall, like the sport and then the years you won district. So how do they do it here? I have DC roots, so I always get this wrong. So district, okay. So it's district, then regionals, right? And then states. And so the sports that require a personal trainer, your golfs, your tennis. If you look at Oakwood, you were looking at John Wooden's UCLA, dude. It's like every single year in a row, you have a hard time finding a year where they didn't win. And then you look at football, and it looks like a beach towel. It's just blue. There's no numbers on it. There's no football titles. There's nothing. But tennis and country club golf, Bill, at Oakwood. So guess what? The basketball coach has come back. But when he retired, but remained the girls' golf coach. And I believe he did it to get a tan because those girls were all unbelievable and like prodigies. So college or high school, even college golf probably be easy. High school golf, that's a racket as a coach. Now, coaches, it's a labor of love. We know public school coaches don't make much, but it's a labor of love. A lot of golfers on here. All right. I got to tell you about another tremendous product, and I can prove it to you that I like it. Look at this, Huel. I showed you the other day the chocolate. I'm now on to the strawberry banana. The stuff's incredible. It is a perfectly balanced meal, saves me time, designed by experts, gives you all what your body needs from a meal, takes the guesswork and time out of healthy eating. No prep, no cooking. They taste delicious. I have kind of bougie taste buds at times, and these are delicious. I do like the black edition, ready to drink. Strawberry banana flavor is definitely delicious, and I'm telling you, this stuff is really, really good and works for you. 15% plus a free gift for new customers if you go to Huel.com. Huel, kind of like fuel, but Huel, to fuel up your day. Huel.com, Bucknuts. You get 15% off and a free gift. It's a complete meal, has all the nutrients you need to thrive, 27 vitamins and minerals. All righty. Let's get back to a guy everybody knows about as we end the digression. Actually, Bill, I'm wrong. There's one person in between. This guy, I'm not sure if I should have had him on the list, but you tell me. Darius Gray, offensive lineman from the prestigious St. Christopher Schools in Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, I think he should be on the list. He's making an official visit to Ohio State, and he is a huge Ohio State target as an interior offensive lineman. He was very impressive at Ohio State's camp last summer. In fact, he was the guy that was taking on the very best players. Ohio State continued to match him up, and he wanted to match up with the very best defensive lineman at that camp. He won some battles, he lost some battles, but he's one of those guys that wants to compete and is very, very good. He does have an official visit set to Ohio State for June 11th. He had to squeeze that one in. Now, he had all the other visits scheduled, and Ohio State wasn't on there. So, that's maybe, not the best sign. But on the other hand, he really wanted to get that visit to Ohio State squeezed in. So maybe that's a good sign. Right now, I don't know that I would gun to my head. I don't know who I would pick for him right now. I think that one's pretty wide open. And, I think he's going to take his visits. He's got South Carolina. He's got Penn State. He's got LSU, Auburn. He's got the full gamut of visits. Tennessee, Clemson's this weekend. So we'll see what happens.
Those of you who have asked, I know Hollywood Hager asked about Jett Washington because he wants to hear about Kobe's nephew. We're getting to everybody here. All these guys are coming up. Just give us a quick sec here to talk about Darius Gray. Marcus, take it away.
Something just happened there. Let me refresh this for you really quick.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
St. Christopher's School, by the way, very prestigious Richmond private school and an absolutely beautiful campus. In a previous life, I was a track coach and coach there. It was only 700 degrees that day. But here we go.
There we go. Bill said, guard here. You see the feet on this first play. The second play, we're going to see him at defensive tackle, and you're going to see the get off here, and then the redirect as he hits the breakdown backfield. Yeah. So extremely athletic. All these players we're watching today are like filet mignon. They are the top of the top. There's a couple more plays, but I think, we're trying to get through a bunch of players here for Bill.
Yeah, we got to hustle up here. Yep. All right. Next up, Bill, this guy you've talked about before, Savon Hiter from Louisa County High School, Mineral, Virginia. Lord knows where that is. Go ahead, Bill.
You got Ohio State this weekend, Georgia next weekend, Michigan June 13th, Tennessee June 20th.
Wow.
It's going to be really
interesting. That's a murderer's row of check writers, Bill. Go ahead. I digressed.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. If I had to pick right now, I think that it'd be a really difficult pick between Ohio State, Georgia, and Michigan. Now, having said that, we know Tennessee's got the last visit. We know, think a certain Sanders. We know what they can do with their NIL offers if they really want someone. So, it's really going to come down to how these visits go and what packages are put on the table and, how Savion feels he will fit in. But Ohio State you always tend to like the first or last shot. I'm not so sure that's, going to be any indication of where Savion's going, but Ohio State does get the first shot here.
Not a new name, Mark. We've gushed over Savion before. Your thoughts?
There's no way we only watch 2 plays of this. Every time you watch it, it's just so exciting. The Jahmyr Gibbs comparisons, the moves, the explosion. I mean, the strength, that stiff arm, the cutback.
Oh, that one right there.
There's 4 or 5 Division I moves on that run alone, and he's 10 yards ahead of everybody in the end zone. Travion Henderson had a high school highlight film that was, when the term shot out of a gun, other kids are like, yeah, I was shot out of a gun. No, you weren't. Savion Hiter is shot out of a gun. Like, you think you were shot out of a gun. Yeah.
He's got great hips. You see that hip?
And that's it's another thing to have the hips to put those moves on people and the breaks to stop and start, throwing the hands, throwing that stiff arm where he looks like he has a ton of power. What else do you have to do to be the number 1 player in the country? I know. And you know what? I love when a player has that type of a ranking and you watch the film and it does hit you. Because sometimes you can remember I don't know. There's this kid deserves all we're giving him.
So how I don't know if it's
a comparison. Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's got some. I think he's got looser hips than Travion Henderson, where he's got a lot of more wiggle and he's a little bigger.
I think I was going to say, Bill, isn't he a little bit bigger than Jahmyr Gibbs? Bill, don't you see him more as an every down type back?
Yeah, absolutely. Jahmyr Gibbs, I never really thought was the tremendous talent, but never necessarily the Mr. Everything back that can do it. I think Savon Hiter is closer to that. He's a little bit bigger, and he can be a true bell cow, so to speak.
I hate to say it, but if I was trying to come up with a comparison, he kind of reminds me of Zeke. Before, Zeke gains, he's got a little more. Now, Zeke was a track star now.
Yeah.
And Zeke gained a lot of weight towards the end of his career and now looks more like his dad than his mom. But his mom was a big-time track star at Missouri. His dad was a middle linebacker. He's got some Zeke in him. Zeke had kind of like that no breakdown speed hip movement. Anyway, look, we're comparing him to Savion Hiter is a take up until the kickoff at Texas. And even after kickoff, I'll be looking at Jimmy some rules to get him in. All right, here's one new one. Not new one, Bill, but a guy we haven't talked about as much. And that is Jett Washington from Bishop Gorman, Las Vegas, Nevada. Anybody who's been watching the NBA, who watched the Thunder beat the Timberwolves, heard a million times how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was being guarded by his cousin, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So let's get the relationship out there now. Like I said, Jett Washington, nephew of the late, great Kobe Bryant. Bill, there are people who list Jett Washington at 6'5". Are there any safeties playing at 6'5"? I don't know. Are we going through a Sam Hubbard redux here? Those who forget, Sam Hubbard at one point in time was a Cincinnati Moeller safety at 6'6", verbally committed to play lacrosse for Notre Dame. William, the floor.
Yeah, the comparison there might be legitimate. Who knows what Jett Washington is going to be in a couple years. Right now, he's 6'4.5", 6'5", 200 pounds, and a great, great athlete. Hopefully that it actually happens that he gets to the Ohio State campus. I'm pretty sure it will, but he's had several visits, unofficial visits, lined up to Ohio State where they just didn't work out. He didn't make it for one reason or the other. But with being an official visit, I tend to think he will make it there. I'm pretty sure he will. He has Alabama this weekend, and then Ohio State next weekend, June 6th, and then Oregon, June 13th. That's 3 pretty strong visits right there. I guess if I absolutely maybe had to make a pick right now, I'd maybe go Oregon, but I think it's pretty wide open of where he's going to end up right now. And it's just good that they're getting him on campus. And Matt Guerrieri certainly has done a great job with safety recruiting. Could he pull another one out of the hat with Jett Washington? That would be unbelievable.
Mark asks for the golfers. This from Kyler comes directly from Tallahassee, from a guy who would take your money if you were on the course. I could guarantee you that, Mark. So don't believe Kyler when he dogs you, because he's taking your cash. Trust me. Good comment on that, Bill. I agree. I will say this. Guys from Bishop Gorman, I think, are a little bit more mobile. Sometimes we get West Coast guys, but the guys like at Mater Dei and the guys at Bishop Gorman, I don't think location is a big deal to them. That's just my opinion, generally speaking, over time. So sure, you have an advantage if you're out there, but it's not like, it used to be where a West Coast guy would come up and we just basically pencil him into USC. Let's move on here.
Oh, Dan, I'm sorry. Pull up his video for a second. I have it shared on my screen, but on your screen.
Oh,
yeah. Throw out another movie reference. Tommy like Wingy. Bill, I'm sorry to say, this kid is in no way Sam Hubbard. Sam Hubbard gave me what's called the stink eye when I mentioned to him he might be a linebacker someday. This kid is rangy and long, and he is athletic. And Dan, these next couple plays, he drops the boom on people. Like, he might be 6'2" or 6'3". I don't know about 6'5", but that's Sean Taylor-esque.
That's Steve Atwater.
Yeah, this is kind of. I think this is safety. I don't think there's any move here to be made. I mean, he looked like an NBA guy going up for that interception there in High Point. That if you can hit like that, and again, here's another one. I think you can stay back there, and I think that
you think he's going to be fast enough to run around and be lateral?
Yeah, I mean, here you go. I mean, boy, if you have 2 or 3 safeties back there, this kid is something. Remember Tyvis Powell? He was that type of long player. I think this is a way better hitter than Tyvis was. Tyvis.
How about the kid that went to Notre Dame? I can't think of his name right offhand.
Taylor Mays was a long safety that never kind of worked out.
The kid that went to Clemson.
No, the kid who plays for the Ravens now, Hamilton.
That's it.
Very good comparison.
But Hamilton dropped in the draft because he didn't run the 40. Great. He does not. This Washington looks a little more sudden. I mean, we're talking about Kyle Hamilton's arguably the best safety in the league right now, or one of them. But the way the Ravens use him, he's near the line. He guards the tight end. He can play deep. If you have a 6'5" guy with this athleticism and versatility, he could be the ultimate defensive weapon. I just haven't seen it yet.
I don't want this comment to come out wrong, but I think some people thought this looks like what Sonny Styles might have been at safety had he not got so much bigger.
Right.
I'm trying to compliment both players at the same time without, whatever, but Sonny Styles really outgrew safety. This body maybe doesn't look like it's going to outgrow safety. So take that for what it's worth.
All right. The chap gets sideways at times and cracks me up. All right. Last one, Bill. And that means the lowest ranked of the group yet. Full-fledged werewolf, Tyler Atkinson, Grayson High School in Georgia. Another guy we've talked about a ton.
Yeah, he's going to be visiting Clemson this weekend. And it looks like right now he may be deciding to do the thing, and there's nothing wrong with it by any means, of announcing his official visits one at a time. He's got Clemson this weekend, and I feel very confident that 2 of his visits are going to be to Ohio State and Georgia. And I think that, again, right now, I will be a little surprised still, as things stand right now, that if Tyler Atkinson doesn't end up at Georgia or Ohio State and Georgia, whichever one you want to put it in, I'll be a little surprised if in the end one of those 2 schools is not his choice. And I say a little, not a lot surprised, but a little.
All right, Bill, I'm ready to now say it's Oregon, Texas, and Georgia are our 3 true peers right now. Currently, as we say, right now, today, and that can change, but that's who we're going against. Let's take a look at him. We've seen him before. He is Lycan, as Mark said. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this is my favorite day of watching film ever so far. Every one of these kids, it just brings a smile to your face to see players this good. If you got all 7 of these guys in one class, my Lord, the way he just came out of the blocks right there.
It's also the recognition.
Yeah, I mean, the definite, like if you said, define, put your foot in the ground and get to the ball. There it was. That was it. There it is again. The chase, and it's like in a video game when you hit the turbo button.
Yeah.
And you just keep jamming turbo. This guy has like unlimited turbos.
Oh,
there it is again. The stock, and then like I'm looking for my prey, and then I hit the gun and I go get it. Like just an absolute textbook, triggering ability is what he has there. And boy, we were talking today, where does he fit in the defense? And we couldn't think of a guy. And Shaziers and some of these other names came up. He might be in his own echelon by the time he's done.
The term they use for that guy, which is like when they don't know what to call it, is called twitchy. He just, what do they call it? I remember hearing Marvin Lewis talk about this with the Bengals, about how triggering and then firing. Like a lot of guys see it, and then that space between that first step and aggressiveness just isn't there. And some guys see it and then somehow are already 2 steps towards the ball. You guys may remember Jerry Rudzinski, not super twitchy, but what Jerry was so smart that he was 2 steps ahead of the guy. So not tremendously athletic. And he would say the other guys were 2 steps in the other direction, though. So I could use my brain to get there faster. But Atkinson, man.
I mean, if you got all these guys we just watched into a class, you and Bill could coach the team. And then I could, just sit there and watch.
You could call in plays.
Yeah.
From the top. If they got all 7 of these guys, too, I imagine the foundation will play a large role in that. Let's face it, because these guys are all going to become financially independent if they aren't already. I got to tell you about our third sponsor, and it's a tremendous one of our best, and that is Cornbread Hemp, America's first ever USDA organic THC gummy. Their mission at Cornbread: improve your quality of life with the highest quality hemp. Healthy happy hour. Those of you who need to lower your drink consumption, and don't we all, this allows you to have a natural, healthier way to experience a carefree moment. They offer a balanced sense of happiness and relaxation. 10 milligrams of THC per gummy for just the right dose. No harsh solvents like petrochemicals or industrial acids. Unlike most hemp THC products, no synthetic ingredients, Farm Bill compliant, and legal for adults over 21. They also have seltzers now. And the moms in my neighborhood, I may have passed out the free samples, and they may or may not have become Cornbread Hemp customers. I don't want to out them, but they love them some Cornbread Hemp. If you're looking for a healthier way, like I said, to enjoy a carefree moment, you got to give Cornbread Hemp a try. Again, 100% legal. 30% off your first order for Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners. cornbreadhemp.com/Bucknuts and use promo code Bucknuts at checkout. All right, we're going to take a little look at Mark's Camp Love, and then Bill's going to give you a final tease about the weekend. I'm going to get you out of here. Mark, you spent some time on the road. You want to bring that up?
Yeah, this is at Lakota West. And when I said there was a position group that was as good as any position group, look at the guys going through this group. All of them have
One
D1
team?
offers. One team. This was like Coach said, hey, I'm going to put all my D1 guys in one group for you guys. And as you watch them come through there, the names are flashing, and there's some seniors here. But, boy, I mean, talk about a secondary and a group of linebackers. Cam Thomas is the headliner here. He's headed to Illinois. He was a pass rusher. Judah Blair. Write down this name. That is a freshman that just ran a sub-11 100. He is picking up Power 5 offers as a freshman. Probably one of the best-looking young players in the state of Ohio right now. Bill, if you were going to do a top 5 or top 10, Judah Blair would be the guy to really focus on. And I know that we'll get through some of these. But I want to get to Middletown and Withrow High School. Oh, and then Xavier Radicott. I mean, there's another group where he put his size. These are freshmen and sophomore tight ends. When you talk about tight end coming, in the future. That defensive lineman, number 8, he was one of the fastest guys on the team when they ran the 40. It just, the amount of talent that they have right now down there is absolutely off the charts. Sorry.
And Mark, you mentioned Blair. He's a legitimate track guy. Like if you look at the track standings in his league, which is a big Cincinnati league, he was the only freshman to finish top 10. I think there was one sophomore in there and the rest were seniors. So you're talking about a linebacker prospect who's as a freshman running legit track times. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ace Alston is the show down at Anderson as a corner. On the other side, Mark Madden has come over from Cincinnati Withrow. He was big time. He put on a show that day. One of the best linebackers in 2026 we haven't talked about is number 3, Derek Singletary. He has blown up with Power 5 offers, and I know he has some visits scheduled. Look at this underclassman defensive lineman, Jaden Davis. We're going to need to be talking about him as we get into 2027. He was an absolute stud that day. Bralan Dorn was a 2028 freshman. So not only at Bucknuts are we telling you the guys that are on your radar now, we're going to make you a connoisseur of the next generation of people who are coming. I wanted to get to Withrow. I know we don't have time. They have a couple 6'4" receivers in the class of 2027. Chris Henry vibes. Maybe it's just because Chris Henry was there last year, but there's some really good-looking players, and I know Dan will have that for the premium members. But, yeah, a lot of good stuff. I can see Mika already geeking out on it, so enjoy.
So JD played AAU basketball for the team a 1 year below my youngest son, but they would scrimmage them in practice. And he was a running back at Fenwick originally. Great kid, Great family. I love his dad. That kid is in 7th grade. He was basically the guy you put in front of the basket, and he would get every single rebound, even though he was about 3 inches shorter than everybody else. He's been that strong and fast, just fast and strong since he was about 11 or 12 years old. He is a definite Division I football player. I'm not sure he really has a position yet, Mark.
Outside linebacker.
That might be it.
Yeah, he has that body, but he has speed of a corner. I mean, it's really, so know the name. Just know that name. I cannot
put into words again how good of a kid he is. He's the kind of kid. He is a yes, sir, no, sir, no talk back. His dad is awesome. So,
I mean, if you're me that day, how do you take your eyes off him to go to the others? I mean, I'm running around with the camera trying to, and that's why I'm just going to film this and just watch this group. And how about how fast they hopped up on the line and went? I mean, the coaching and synchronization of that team, look for them deep in the playoffs. If not, putting a ring on some of those kids' fingers.
Yeah, they've got the talent there. They always have. They just need to kind of get things organized. Great facilities. Middletown just faces some of those challenges that a lot of big high schools in some tougher areas do. But we will keep an eye on them. William, get us set for this weekend. What's your plans? You're pulling an all-nighter, I know, 2 nights just to talk to kids. No sleep for the dean. Who is on the guest list? Let's get everyone get rejiggered for the weekend.
Before I get to the guest list real quick, okay. We haven't talked a lot about it. I've mentioned NIL and all that, but one thing Ohio State, all the guys we've talked about so far, the 5-star, every one of those guys thinks that they're not only getting to the NFL, but they're getting to the NFL and they're going to be a star. And that's the way they think, and rightly so. Development. Ohio State does a really good job of selling their development. And we can develop you into not only an NFL guy, but a great NFL player. And their draft record is, the last 5 years plus shows that they can do that. So what they're going to have to do is really impress upon these guys how they can develop them and how they can get them to where all these guys feel they're going to go to the NFL and be a star there. Now, as far as the guys,
you bring up a really good point. Now the elite of the elite guys, it's not good enough to promise them a payday. They need the double payday promise. They need to go to college and be multimillionaires, and they need you to set them up to be even bigger multimillionaires with their first, signing bonus. So make no mistake about it. Those guys at the level we discussed today, if you have an issue with paying dudes, it's time to get out of the game. I'm sorry. Go ahead, William.
And Ohio State does a really good job of impressing upon kids that maybe we're not the best NIL offer, but you will more than make it up after we develop you and you become a first-round draft choice. That's where you will make it up if you go to Ohio State. And they do a great job of doing of making that point to kids. As far as this weekend, we've talked about a lot of the guys already. There are some guys that I feel, without a doubt, they're going to be at Ohio State this weekend making official visits. There are also a few guys that, as of yesterday, it was a little up in the air whether they would be on the Ohio State guest list this weekend. Their visit might be canceled. They might cancel the visit or get canceled, or they might change it to another date. So the guys that I feel very confident in saying are going to make it to Ohio State this weekend and be in Columbus for their official visit: Felix Ojo, running back Savon Hiter, linebacker Xavier Griffin. We haven't talked about him today, I don't think. We've talked about him before. Edge Jake Kurelic from IMG, great player. Another edge from Princeton, New Jersey, the Ohio State just loves Luke Waffle. Max Suter, he is a tremendous tight end prospect, and he would look very good in the class with Corbin Fordham. I think Illinois, it might be a little hard to get him to leave his home state because Illinois is on an uptick, but certainly Ohio State is going to make their best pitch. Another guy I really expect to be at Ohio State this weekend, Kari Wilder, a defensive end from California. Aaron Thomas from Arizona, an offensive lineman who I tend to I guess if I had the gun to my head right now, I might pick Ohio State for Aaron Thomas, and he is a 6'7", 300-pound offensive tackle from Phoenix Mountain Point. I know he's been looking forward to this visit to Ohio State this weekend. There were several commitments that were going to be at Ohio State this weekend, but those visits in most cases got changed to another date, like CJ Sana. He's moved back. Caden Dixon-Wyatt, he's moved back now to the end of June. But the one commitment right now that I feel pretty confident his visit will stick, he will be at Ohio State this weekend, is Corbin Fordham. And he and Max Suter, they can be together and talk about how they would fit into the Ohio State offense if Ohio State could pull that one off. Those are guys I feel really confident. There are several other guys that we'll see. Do they make it to Ohio State this weekend? And hopefully I'll have an update today, tomorrow, and let you know what happens with a few of those other guys. But those are the guys I feel really confident will be in Columbus this weekend.
I'm not going to post it, Richie Dubs, but you, I guess I will. You posted what I was just looking for there, is to see if we could get all these guys here from one of those San Diego and Ohio weekends, and we will not. It looks like it might be partly sunny, but who knows? The sun always shines on the Buckeyes, and Mother Nature may comply. Keep it locked to Bucknuts. If you want to know about these visits, there's one guy to follow, and that is Bill Kurelic. He will be all over this all weekend. That's why they call him the Dean. If you think Mark's taking the weekend off, you don't know Mark. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Have a good one. Nutters of Buck.